All right. Hooking up malt and hops for 30 years. How about that, huh? So I'm wearing one of the retro shirts right here. This is from 1995 Winterfest. I saved the shirt. It's still kind of falling apart a little bit. Somebody said I kind of look like a teenager in this shirt right here. And when you see some of the pictures up there, you might kind of you'll see kind of like why I look young, you know, in the pictures. So one thing I want to ask before we get started here, you know, we're 30 years old right here. Is there anybody in the room here that is younger than 30? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. I just want to point this out here that these people weren't born when this club started. So, I mean, it just kind of blows me away. Anyways, so we're going to get started here. All right. So, oh, yeah, let's start with the beer. How about that? The 30th anniversary beer. I thought you guys... I was going to wait until the end for, you know, that we've gone through everything, that we talked about the history of the club, but I thought you guys didn't want to do that. So I need a couple helpers here. I think Judy is going to help for one. A couple, I think two people, Judy and one other will work. Actually, maybe you could do more. We'll pour them faster. We could do four. We could do four people. Sure, why not? Okay, so the one that says 18 on it, because that was 2018. No, I'm sorry. The ones that have the labels on them. So this one's right here, the small bottle. We're going to open this later. Sorry, not to get you excited. So the small bottle one, and then there's a large bottle that says 23 on it.
So how many small bottles?
All right. The small bottles are the traditional 30th anniversary beer. And then the ones that are in the 750 milliliter bottles, that's a barrel-aged version of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to try both of them. And the idea here is, you know, try them, see what you think about them. If you like one better than the other, I have bottles to give away that you can take home. Everyone can take one bottle home, but you have to choose which one that you want, because I don't have enough for you to take one of each. So it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this beer now as it's going around. So it's a California beer brewed. And so when I think about a California beer, what would you put in a California beer? Well, I started thinking about, white grapes. You know, so we use some Sauvignon Blanc grape, and then also some sage in here. So it's kind of a little bit different, but it's a big beer that's fermented out fairly dry. And it's made specifically for this. It's been about a year in the making. You can see some of the stats on there. Of course, the barrel-aged version's a little bit drier because it ferments out a little bit more in the barrel. So hope you guys enjoy this. While it's going around, we'll talk about the early years. We'll start with the early years. All right. So this is where we started right here. Yeah, look at that. So when I was in college, I always thought it'd be fun to make beer, but I never really had time. And after I graduated and I'd taken a nice trip out to Southeast Asia, then I got the idea that, okay, I really do want to make some beer. And I went up and visited my brother in Oregon. And so I took his bike and I rode through all the rain that they always have in Oregon and went out to the brew shop, picked up my book from Charlie Papazian, picked up some ingredients, brought it back, and brewed my first beer. And that was in 1990. Okay, so I brew the beer, and I'm learning from books, and I'm just making all kinds of mistakes. And, you know, the beer's slowly getting better. And I'm learning from this, I'm learning from that. And, you know, fast forward a few years, I'm finally starting to make some really good beers. And so then I start going and I start teaching some friends to brew. And I said, okay, come on over. We're going to brew. I'm going to teach you how to brew. And we brew the beer, and then they brew on their own, and their first beer comes out good. I'm like, what? I had to work so hard at it, and your first beer came out really good? And so I started thinking about it, and it's like, well, why is that? Well, the reason is because we're able to learn from each other. And so that exchange of information is really kind of the key. And so I thought, well, what if we started a homebrew club where that was the mission behind the homebrew club, the exchange information so we all learn and make better beers. And so I knew 3 other people that brewed beer. And so I figured I was going to ask all 3 of them if I started a homebrew club, if they would all 3 be in. And if they all said yes, I was going to do it. And so I asked these 3 gentlemen over here, Steve Zmack, Stan Aguilar, and Steve Demmer, and they all 3 said yes. And so, boom, we started the homebrew club. And that was it. So that's the story about how the club started. And it was really around information exchange. Yeah, pour the barrel-aged one so you can taste both of them. And make sure you don't forget me, too. There's 3 750s, so make sure they go around, and some bottles and stuff like that, too. So you guys keep track of which one gets poured for which one for you. And, yeah. Okay, so let's keep moving. First meeting. There you go. You heard that pop. Okay, first meeting was held. I happen to live in the same house I've lived in this whole time. So, of course, when you guys come over and you visit in there, that garage area right here, that's where we held the first meeting. There were 18 people at the first meeting. And, part of it, 18 people, you're thinking, well, that's not bad. But part of it is sort of like the curiosity thing. I mean, we had some people joining that, weren't really going to continue. One of the guys, his name was Bob Funkin. When we went around the room and saying, well, what do you like about beer? And his was, I like them cold and I like them fast. He was from Texas, and so that's the way he thought about it. So, well, needless to say, he's not still in the club. But some of the people like Steve Zmack, I don't know if he's on right now. DeLauren, do you know if Steve's on right now? He's not on, but he comes on Zoom. He's up in Monterey. He comes on Zoom quite a bit, so he's still a member of our club. So, and the funny thing is, if you look at that date up right there, it's the first Wednesday of the month. So, so we kept consistent. First Wednesday of the month, we had a meeting every time, and this mission statement right here, it's still up on our website. It's the same mission statement. We haven't changed it. So the idea is that we can learn from each other, and we can brew better beer because we're doing it. So it's the exchange of information. All right, let's keep going. So how do you exchange information? Well, before the internet, you got different ways to do it. You use postage stamps and mail. And so we have this brews letters, and you guys can, when you get a chance, take a look at them. Some of the brews letters are over there. You'll see what kind of content we had in there. The idea with the brews letter was we had the maximum number of pages that would ship with 1 postage stamp. So as much information as you can pack out, as long as you don't go over 1 postage stamp. Because at the time, that was our biggest expense in the club, was postage for the brews letters. Needless to say, I don't think we spend any money on postage these days. Yeah. Anyway, so that gives you an idea of it. I think we owe a lot to Steve Zmack for getting this going with all the brews letters. Yeah, question already. Oh,
what was the last issue of the brews letter?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm not even sure I know, but you'll see some in there in 1996, 98. It sort of went from first we were printing and mailing them, and then more and more people got on the internet, and then we got to the point where we could actually send out an email out to people, and they could receive it that way. Uh-oh. Does anybody have a corkscrew? You came to the right place. All right. No beer will be wasted here. All right. I think he's just looking for attention. Okay, this is the Winterfest that this shirt came from right here. This is what we looked like in the old days, and you could see that. I mean, there weren't beer setups and stuff like that. We just notice all they're all like pinlock kegs and stuff like that. But so that's one of their. I think you might recognize a couple people in this. You guys recognize Jack Ridley up there. Jack Ridley, Don Dennis. He shows up at all the beer festivals, and well, there I am right there. You can tell it's kind of a little cold in Winterfest, so I don't know what we were doing with T-shirts for Winterfest, but it's the way it goes. Okay, so what ended up happening was we would end up doing a lot of talk about beer stuff. And every time we got together, we would talk about beer. and our spouses weren't really all that thrilled about it because all you guys do is just talk about beer, you know. And this quote came out at the time. It was like, well, you know, who but a bunch of guys would come up with a club where all you do is drink beer and eat pizza? So that's kind of what they were thinking about. I'm like, what a great quote, you know. But that was kind of the way it was, because normally at our meetings we would order pizza and stuff like that for everybody when we were holding our meetings. So what we did is we did this thing we called the Brew Widows Appreciation Party, and the Brew Widows Appreciation Party was you went to the party, you could do whatever you want, but you weren't allowed to talk about beer, and you bring your spouse there, you weren't allowed to talk about beer, and if you talked about beer, then you had to drink this Lucky Lager, and so there's Jack there. There's Jack because, you know, Jack can't keep his mouth shut. He's having to drink the Lucky Lager. So there you go. I don't know if you still have Lucky Lager. They do? They still have it? Okay. All right. Well, I should have brought some for today. Chris has a question. Chris, I hang on. Oh, was I already married when the club started? Yes, I was married when the club started, but this was like right before I had my first kid. So, you know, yeah. Oh, there he is. There's Jack. Woohoo, Jack. The Brew Widows. We got the photo of the Brew Widows where you're drinking the Lucky Lager. Do you want to say anything about that, Jack?
You got to unmute yourself, Jack. There you go.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I was in violation multiple times. I got actually drunk on this stuff at that party, and I wasn't invited back, or my wife didn't let me go back after that. But yes, it was a rule that it was meant to be broken, and I made a lot of good lagers based on that beer. So I'm proud of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. All right. Jack Ridley, longtime member. So maybe there's a good time to ask you guys a question about the two beers we pass around there. What do you guys think about them? Any thoughts? Anybody like one over the other? Do you like the sage? Not like the sage? You like the white grapes? What do you guys think? David.
Hang on, David.
Sorry, I'm the guy that always thought his voice carried well enough. I don't need a mic. They're both delicious. I mean, the differences are subtle, at least at this temperature. But if you put either one of those in front of me at a tasting room right now, yeah, I'm perfectly happy. They're delicious.
Jacques has a question. You're gonna get a mic here in a second, Jacques. No, you're gonna get a mic. You're gonna get a mic.
Yeah, but the people over Zoom can't hear you. No, they can't.
Everybody can hear me. What inspired you to make those? Hello? To make those beers, Andy? I mean, the sage, the Sauvignon Blanc, all of that.
Yeah,
what was the inspiration?
So for this particular beer, I was going for all California, and so if you've heard of some of the Belgian beers, beer brutes and things like that. And they're really a lot of characterful beers, and so I really like that. But I thought I wanted to make it, you know, for our terroir, and so that's why I was thinking about, well, what would go with that? And so, you know, adding sage, but making sure you don't add too much sage. You know, Blue Fire has a real nice sage beer that they make, and I got a little bit of advice from them about how much sage to add. No, I added it direct, but I was really worried about overdoing it. So I don't feel like I did. I feel like I got the right balance in it, but there was a lot of worrying involved. All right, one more comment.
Is there sage in the oaked one?
Yes, so it's the same beer. It just went to into the barrel.
Okay.
So which is probably why you're saying it's very similar, because it's the same exact beer. In fact, it fermented out first before it went into the barrel for aging.
Okay.
So it just got aged a little bit longer in the barrel. It came out a little drier, as you notice.
What was the barrel and size you used?
It's a 5-gallon barrel, but it's been used multiple times, many times. So it doesn't have probably a huge, barrel flavor to it or anything like that. All right, we're going to keep moving. Okay. So people maybe don't know in the club that, because we're talking this year about doing winemaking, so maybe you don't know that we actually used to do that. I think we're still, Andre, are we still looking for someone to kind of head that up for us?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we are. So if you have any experience with winemaking, let one of the officers know. We're planning on May, is I believe when it's on the calendar, but we have some flexibility in that.
It works really well if you have somebody that sort of owns it that is going to be, in charge of this. And at the time we had somebody, Jack was really into winemaking. In fact, he had a vineyard going for a while there. And so he was into it. Steve Dimmer was into it. We had a guy by the name of Dan Finn who had the press and a destemmer, on his property. So we were able to make use of that. So that made it a little bit easier. But it was just a great way to get together and to have something to do. And there's an old saying in the wine industry that it takes a lot of beer to make wine. And so you're drinking the beer while you're making the wine. I don't think you can drink the wine while you're making the wine, or you might be getting in trouble. I don't know. Anyways, so we're going to look to bring some of this back to the club. Cider making. We did quite a bit of cider making in the old days. In fact, we had a guy in our club that had a cabin up in Julian, and so we would go up to farmers up there, which is no longer in existence. But they had this old 1950s equipment there that would basically peel the apples and all this kind of stuff. It was just a wonder just to watch them doing all this stuff. And then we'd collect the juice. We'd head on over to our friend's cabin in Julian and have a nice barbecue. And so that was a lot of fun. So, another one of those old events. If you notice how there's a little white ring around all these. These are real photos here. This is no digital stuff here. It's like real photos that are printed up and put on this stuff here. So just to kind of give you an idea of the times here. Okay, homebrew festivals. We went to our first homebrew festival, Southern California Homebrew Festival, which was held at Vinnie Cilurzo's winery, at the Cilurzo Winery. And this is what it looks like. This is the club at the Homebrew Festival. And what they did is they issued out these really nice fancy brown tables to everybody. You got a sign with your name on it, and you'd stick the kegs underneath. And usually what you do is you tape the taps onto the top of it so the taps didn't flop around. The picnic taps didn't flop around so much. And you laugh, but that's how we all did it. Everybody was doing it. All the clubs were doing it that way. There were probably, I don't know, I still have my original glass from there. There's probably 30 clubs or so there. And so we were like one of 30 clubs. So what we did... Oh, okay. Well, we're going to continue on this thread of things that we were doing in the old days. Del Mar Fair Homebrew Competition. Yeah, so Del Mar Fair Homebrew Competition. So we did a lot of this was the homebrew competition that we had in the area. So we spent time in there. We won a lot of ribbons there. I think you can see various people that won Best of Show at various different times at Del Mar Fair, which is quite a treat. And the cool thing about it in the old days was that you could you bring your beer in there, and if you didn't win first place in there, then okay, I bring my second place beer out and share it with everybody. And so it was a great social event, and we kind of missed that, and that's maybe one of the reasons why we don't do it so much. But one of the things that happened at that at the Del Mar Fair is we were winning a lot of ribbons, and we met up with a guy by the name of Greg Cook. Anybody heard of that guy before? Yeah, you guys heard of him? Okay. Yeah, so he said, oh yeah, we're starting this brewery, and I see you guys are winning a lot of these ribbons and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, really? You're starting a brewery? And I'm like, we're looking for a place to meet, for our homebrew club. and because what happens is when we started out, we were meeting at people's houses, and we're rotating between people's houses. And it's difficult when the meeting location changes all the time, and you're trying to tell people, well, now we're meeting over here. Well, now we're meeting over here. And so we wanted to have a stable meeting location in order to grow the club. And so Greg was there. This is before they had served their first beer. So we had no idea if it was any good or not. But, they had some space, and they said, well, why don't you come on over, and if you like it, you can start meeting here. It's like, oh, great, that sounds good. So so we'll go to the next chapter here, which is SBE emerges. Okay, so we had the early days. This is SBE emerges. Now we connected up with Stone Brewing, and this was a great relationship for us. So we were there before they served their first beer, when they started doing really well. And the thing that I really get a kick out of is they had a guy there. His name was Chris Cochran, and in his job description was to take care of Society Barley engineers. That was one of the things in his job description. So we thought that's really cool. So we would go to the meetings, and the meetings we would have the same idea, the social hour at the first half hour of the meeting. But the social hour was basically they were serving us, samples of Stone beer. Hey, what do you want to try? What do you want? What do you want? So we do that for half an hour, and then we break out and go into the back room, and they had a lunchroom or something like that we would meet in. And, it would work out pretty well, except for every time a forklift would drive by, you'd have to stop, just kind of like you do when the jets fly over if you're down in Serrano Valley.
Andy.
You stop and wait till the forklift is gone, and then we continue.
Andy, it was the forklift and the compressor. So
the
when the compressor went off, it was time to drink.
Thank you for chiming in there. So now you're going to see who all the old time members are, because they're going to have some memories that they're going to want to share. So, and I'd encourage you, if you guys have memories you want to share, we'll have time to share memories. So a lot of great things happen here. We connected up with them. We participated in a lot of the homebrew competitions. In fact, we won quite a few of those. Chris Banker, who's here, has got a beer they're still producing there, and he still gets reap some rewards from that. I think, in all honesty, I think it's probably their best beer that they make. Exactly. And so a lot of good things from them. They were very good to us. It was a great relationship. When we got closer to the end and things started changing, it became more corporate. It was a little bit harder in there. But what happened was they started expanding. They started doing really well, and eventually they just ran out of space for us. And so we had to move out and go to some different places, and we met at some different places, and you'll see some of those different places that we met at in there. But then they brought us back in. They said, we've got some new warehouse space here, and so now we have room for you, so come on back in at the San Marcos facility. So we were back in the San Marcos facility, and then later when they moved to Escondido, we moved with them in there. And then, it was good for a while, and it kind of got progressively more difficult to meet there, and so you'll hear those stories coming up. But it was a great relationship. I think since information is so key to our club, I really have to give a lot of thanks to these three people right here who really upped our ability to communicate between the club members. Steve Smack, who was original information officer, Chris Banker, and then Derek Springer. So these three people really made it so that we can really communicate between our club, all the things. Yeah, thank you. Let's hear some applause here. Yeah. Then we got to the point. You saw you saw the brown tables that we get issued at the festival, and the year that we were at the festival, the next year they were moving into Lake Skinner, and so they were moving to Lake Skinner, and we got this idea that, hey, look, we're Society Barley engineers. Why don't we engineer, a serving system? And so we said, okay, we're not going to tell any other clubs that we're doing this. We're just going to go do it, and we're going to show up at the festival with this new setup, and they'll all have their brown tables. and so we did that. So we developed this system right here, and Ray DeGangi was kind of our chief architect here. And Ray DeGangi, who was like in the construction business, liked to do everything big, and so everything's really heavy, like with the peeler logs and all this kind of stuff going on in this thing. But it was really heavy duty. We're using, marine paint on the inside and all this stuff. So we constructed this bar, and we brought this bar out to the festival, and you can see it in action up here in a few of the shots. And just imagine all of the other booths, they all just have the brown tables, and we've got this thing here. So we got written up in Zymergy for it. They said, saw the most amazing thing happen at this festival, So take a look at it. I think it's 1996 Zymergy, if you want to take a look at the article. Actually, there's a copy of it up over here. You take a look at it. And the next year, everybody had a bar, which is cool. I think we did what we wanted. I think we wanted everybody to have a bar there. I think raising the bar. That's why it's raising the bar. Yeah, yes, it was the bar. The question was, is this the bar that almost killed Judy? Yes, it was, and that was probably one of the reasons why we had to build a new bar. So we'll hear about that shortly. But just to give you, here's another shot of it in use. You can see the shirts. We're categorizing our beer: British, German, Belgian, American, and 24 taps, all that kind of stuff in there. And the thing that was a lot of fun was just opening up even when we didn't have to replace a keg, just open it up so we could show people what was inside. So lots of fun. Another shot right here, you can see some of the celebrities, Charlie Papazian, Byron Birch. You can see Dr. Bill here, one of our presidents here, looking very presidential, presiding over the bar. I think that was what happened late at night in the bar. You don't want to be around late at night. So we started getting into lambic beer, and probably have to thank Bill Sobieski for getting it started, because he had this kind of this keg that he had left out and under an old oak tree, and it had been there for a couple of years, and it had gone sour, and he thought, oh, I'll put some fruit in it, and he called it the long lost cherry sour, and so we're like, oh, this tastes pretty good. I wonder if we should start getting into sour beers, and so we started doing that, and we started looking at people making lambic and things like that. We thought, ooh, this would be really cool. Let's start making lambic, and so we did. So we started making lambic, and can you see some of the old sessions in here, things that we would do? I think we originally did it at Ken Schmidt's place, and then before it ended up moving over to my place. Some of the old... Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure he's wearing shorts, but the question was, why doesn't Ken have a Hawaiian shirt on? I don't know. Yeah, he showed up at Rip Current without any shorts on. I mean, I'm not saying with no pants. He's wearing pants. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I think you needed to clarify that statement.
Yeah, but it was an amazing thing. Yeah. Okay, so SBE matures, next chapter here. All right, so, we started bringing in guest speakers. We're serious now. We're going to bring in some guest speakers. I think if you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 people on here, if you can name 8 of them, that's pretty amazing. If you can name 8 of the 10 people. Anybody think they can name 8 of the 10 people here? Ryan thinks he can. Ryan thinks he can name 8 of the people. Let's do it. Let's give him a shot.
Drew Beecham, Bill Sizik. Middle. Oh, that's Curtis. Yeah. That's Scott Blair, right?
Scott Blair,
yeah.
You got it.
Chris White, Tommy Arthur, Paul Sangster, Kelsey McNair, Peter Zion, and Patrick Rue.
Oh, man. We got 100%. I wasn't expecting anyone to get 100%. That's pretty amazing. All right. Give that man some free hops. All right. So that was a big deal. And then this is the part where we're re-engineering the bar. And I think we have two main people to really thank for this. Lauren Sally, who's in the back right here, and Ray DeGanji. And they're basically decided to put it all together. Yeah, let's give them a hand right here for re-engineering the bar. Lauren wants to say something about this bar.
Yeah, that bottom middle picture, that's me inside the bar.
It's not designed for that. We don't have insurance to cover that, but just, Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit of fun, when they're doing it. But the bar, it's just so clean, and, everybody loved it. It's lasted for a number of years. We've been using it at all kinds of events. And, again, it got written up in Zymergy also, again, this one for another version of another Zymergy publication. Ryan wants to say something here.
Let's bring back the beer engines. I've yet to see the beer engines in use on the ends.
Yes, that's right. We haven't done that in a while, but you can see them on there. We had them at some of them, but yeah, it's a great idea. Okay, so the bar in action. So you can see we've brought it to a lot of events. Most of you guys, I think almost everybody here has been at some event where we've had this bar, so you don't need too much more on that. But now let's talk about, so this is SBE emerges. So badges and swag, other things that we started getting into. And Lauren and Judy were in charge of the stinking badges, and so we got the badges, and then they got upgraded, and so it's just something that kind of keeps things a little bit more official. And then I think we got to thank Todd a lot for the swag. So a number of people have done things for us for swag, but Todd's really brought it all together. Thank you, Todd. Yeah. So we're just building ourselves up, so it just making it all real. Oh, wait. So then we hit the 20th anniversary. So this would be a really good time to pass out the 20th anniversary beer. Yeah. 20th. This one was done by Steve Zmack. And so he was the guy who did the original artwork on this right here. He's a graphic artist, and he's doing professional photography in Monterey. That's what he does right now. So you can look him up, Steve Zmack, and you'll find a lot of his work at vineyards and things like that on the walls and stuff like that. Does a lot of black and whites and stuff like that. So I need a couple volunteers to crack open these bottles of the 20th anniversary. I've been saving these bottles up, so it's a great time to get them out. It's also a beer brut or barley champagne. This one is the ones that have the 18 on them. 18 on the... No, wait. Oh, 13? No, 13. I'm sorry, 13. Wait, 13. 13. 13's. Yeah, 13. Sorry. It's the year. I can't help it. It was 13 when it was brewed, 2013. So this beer was brewed in 2013. We're going to pass it around. Oh, you guys saw the shirts like that, right? Oh. When did we leave Stone? It was after this. So we held the 20th anniversary celebration at Stone. We packed the place. It was packed. I think we had maybe 70 people there or something like that. So, so this beer right here was it was different. It was basically I used basically a lot of Belgian Pilsner malt and finished the beer out really dry by feeding it multiple times with sugar to finish it out dry and to have a really nice dry taste to it. So this one's a higher ABV. It's close to 12%, but it's dry. It finished at 1.007. So yeah, it should be. And the use of Nelson Sauvin hops, which tend to give it that white grape flavor to it. So hope you guys enjoy this. And as it's going on, we'll keep flipping through this. So now let's talk about SBE expands, the next chapter here. So what did we do at Expand? Well, the first thing that we did was we had to find a new home. So we actually spent a year, I call it the nomadic year. We spent a year looking for a new meeting location. And so we had Stone, and so we could continue meeting there, but it was getting really pricey, and they were having, they wanted corking fees for every bottle we opened up, and they wanted, we had to order this big meal and stuff like that maybe not everybody wanted. And so there was a lot of things that were kind of, the people that we originally connected with weren't really involved with it. And so it was getting more and more difficult to meet there. So we decided we would try out some other places. And so these are the places we tried. We kept Stone on the list just in case they ended up being the best option. But we went to Wavelength Brewing, which is now defunct. It's now in Zane, down in downtown Vista. They were super nice. Let us come in there and do our thing. It was a lot of fun. We went to Felicia's Italian restaurant. Okay, that was interesting. We put up like a big white screen on the wall and tried to use the tables there to do it. And then we went to Arcana Brewing. Dan was really good to us. We were a little kind of cramped in there, but we made it work. And we came here to Booze Brothers. And at the time we came here to Booze Brothers, they didn't have this meeting hall. but they had the big open area in there. In fact, our first presentations we would present up on the door on the first area there, because they didn't have this area right here. And they were just really nice. They were like, whatever you guys need, whatever you guys want to do. And so, you know, in the end, when we decided why we were going to meet with Booze Brothers, that's why we decided to meet with Booze Brothers. So, but this was a really difficult time because it's really hard to go to an unknown place, set up and have a meeting there, and then the next month go to another place and set up and have a meeting there. So it was kind of a stressful time, but we knew we had to find a new place if the club was really going to grow. So, Booze Brothers. So why did we move into Booze Brothers? Well, these reasons. They're friendly. They let us use this meeting hall free of charge. We don't do anything other than make sure it's clean, and you know, they provide these tasting glasses.
Which one quick note, that's why it's really important to make sure that you get a Booze Brothers beer and get the hamburgers now. It was pizza, but now hamburgers. That lets us support them so that they can keep us around.
Thank you. There's food options. There's tables and chairs, you know, and did I mention friendly? Friendly, yeah.
If you remember, we actually were in the suite next door. It wasn't even this suite when we started.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We started out there, and we had a big meeting out there when Kelsey McNair was, yeah, in the original. Oh, we used to be right next door too. Yeah, we did move. Yeah, you're right. We moved several times until we got this fantastic meeting hall right here. So anyway, so we're really thrilled to be here. This is working out really well for us. So be kind to the Booze Brothers. Yeah. So then, what happened was we were getting into doing lambics so much, and we had been going out to the to HomebrewCon, and we were going to go to our. We've only really gone to as a club to the HomebrewCons that are in San Diego, because it's too hard to cart all your stuff and serve beer in another city. And so the second time that we went to HomebrewCon in San Diego, we were all jazzed about it. And then they sent a notice out saying, yeah, we're going to limit you to 20 kegs. You know, and we're like, what, 20 kegs? We got a 26-tap bar, and it's going to look really dumb to have 6 of the taps just like turned off. And so we got this really stupid idea. The stupid idea was, well, what if we, you know, half the beers we're going to bring are going to be lambics anyways. What if we started another club, and then we could, you know, bring in more than 20 beers? and so we did. We thought hard about what the name should be, you know, and we ended up selecting Société de Lambic, and this is how it was born. So we registered as 2 clubs to come out to HomebrewCon. And the funny thing is, then after all that, they ended up saying, "Oh, well, we're not going to make you hold to the strict 20 keg limit, anyways." But we were well on the way to doing this, and it worked out really great because we ended up with 2 booths there at HomebrewCon. So this is Société de Lambic. You can see this is what we're going to be doing in March. You guys, you want to be a part of this. Come on out in March, be a part of this. It's a lot of fun. We're going to just be one big giant, session of everybody just trying to brew the same thing and to stick the beer out in the barrels that we're going to ferment. Okay, so the homebrew conventions. So you can see, you know, the homebrew conventions where we've got Society of Barley Engineers, Society de Lambic. How many people were able to make it out to this last HomebrewCon? Okay. How many people made it to the previous one, the one before that? Okay, how many made it to the one where we were wearing the Dilbert ties? Dilbert ties? So we were like the Society of Barley Engineers, so we thought we'd dress like engineers and have the little Dilbert ties, little dorky Dilbert ties. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so the funny thing is you guys had so much fun at this HomebrewCon that nobody really took very many photos. Because I couldn't find very many, and then I was asking everybody, and they're like, oh yeah, I didn't take as many as I thought. And everybody was saying the same thing, and so I don't have a whole lot of photos from HomebrewCon, from this last one, but I know you guys all had fun because I was there. All right, so just here's us at the Southern California Homebrew Festival. then we got this harebrained idea to have this outrageous bottle share, and you can see we were, I think this was like the 5th. I think we're on the 6th now, right? Is that correct? The 6th one. Does it say what? That's at Rincon. That's 2 years ago. Yeah. So I think we're like Patrick. Yes, Patrick's going to tell a story. He promises it'll be quick. No.
So this is a quick story, and our good friend Dan over here, I'm sorry. I've told a couple of folks this story. We were up on Rincon, and if you go there, it's on top of a hill, and it's a circle. Thank you. It's a circle area to camp, and in the middle is this great grass area where Dan said, this is where we're setting up the bottle share. And you could see there's tables, there's lights, and it was a party. It was a great time. There was Jenga. Yeah, we had bar games. We had everything. It was amazing. And Dan enjoyed himself very much and decided to go to bed a little early. And then at midnight, when the sprinklers came on, Dan popped out of bed like a super motivated zombie to make sure that none of the electronics that we had over here got ruined. And everybody was winding down. Everybody was a little sleepy and definitely a little overserved. But Dan, literally the definition of flipping the switch, was face down in his bed, woke up, motivated everybody to get everything out of the sprinklers, and then went over and flipped the switch right back off and went right back to bed. Absolutely amazing. It was fantastic. So that was a great little story about the SoCal Homebrew Fest.
So, little bit of a plug for this right here. You guys should be saving some of your outrageous bottles. If you have something it's been aged for a lot of years, or you did some weird thing with it, or it won some award, bring that bottle out. Bottle of homebrew. We're trying to focus it on homebrews because we do a lot of bottle shares. There are a lot of bottle shares with commercial beers, which are good. But we know you guys have a lot of really special homebrews that you guys have made. And sometimes you don't have enough of it to bring it out to the festival. So this is a great way to bring a bottle out of something that you can share that's really something special. So I encourage you guys all to think about that, bring something out to the fest to share for the outrageous homebrew bottle share. All right, going on here, event expansion. So we started doing, expanding on what we're doing with events. And I think at the time when Chris Banker was events officer, we got this idea. We just said, look, let's just plan out everything that we think that we would want to do, and we'll get somebody to coordinate it and to sign up to run that event. And if we don't get it, we'll just not do that event. And so we had this crazy ambitious plan that had 2 events per month, which like now you might not think it's crazy ambitious anymore because we're doing that and more. But at the time, it was really hard for us to pull off all these events. And so we set up this plan that had 2 events per month all the way through the whole year. And guess what? People signed up to coordinate them, and we did 2 events a month for the whole year. Pretty amazing thing. Thank you, Chris, for setting that all up and getting us going on a lot of events. Yeah. Congrats. Yeah, so then we got drawings, so we thought, well, okay, we're doing swag, we should be, have drawings where we can, I've learned that you can't call them raffles because that's like raffles like gambling and stuff like that, so you call them drawings, and so we have these drawings and we give away things and stuff like that, and I think it's a really good thing. It makes it fun, and we've ended up having a lot of great donations that we could put in for the drawings. Thank you, Raul, for bringing some beer to donate for that. So that's been a lot of fun. It's been another addition that we've made as we've matured. Community support. This is something I'm really proud of, that we've been doing more and more of these community events. We do meeting in the garden that's supporting Alta Vista. If you just look at all the events that we're doing, there's a large proportion of them that are around doing community community events, community service events. I think a special thanks to Nancy and Jacques, who putting on kind of one of the biggest events that we do, which is the Big Brew. So thanks to them. Give them a big round of applause. But if you look around, there's a lot of events that way, and now we have an events coordinator or a community coordinator, which is me this year, to actually try to plan events out that are gonna help the community out. So I think it's really cool because you can do all these things where you can now serve homebrew at events where you didn't used to be able to do that. We can go out and do things to support other organizations as a club, and so I think it's a really good way for us to spread the love. Competitions, our club has never been. That's not been the focus of our club. Our club has been focused on, information, but we do competitions, and we've had a number of different people that have won different awards in many different competitions of all kinds of different styles, including a couple winners of National Homebrew Convention. So you see David Moore, up there. You won a gold medal, right? And wood beer, wood aged beer, yeah. So yeah, just and Rob got a gold for their IPA. So yeah, 2 gold medals from our club. Considering that we didn't enter a lot of beers from our club, it wasn't a big focus of ours. Pretty amazing. So yeah, so a lot of things happened over a lot of years. So we're going to continue doing this. We have a competition czar. That's Ryan, and so we do competitions internally. We hold a competition. We'll do things externally. It's not the biggest focus of our club, but it's something that's a lot of fun. And then we hit the 25th anniversary. So I need a couple of volunteers to pass out a 25th anniversary beer that we've got right here. This one you guys will remember. This will be easy because it's the only bottles that are still left. Well, probably. I guess there's might be some more of the small ones still left, but no, there aren't. Just those 3. Yeah, so this is the one where at the 25th anniversary, I had my wife show up, and I didn't tell her, but I kind of embarrassed her and had her come up and speak in front of everybody. It's the only meeting in the 30 years we've been around, the only meeting that she's ever attended for Society of Barley Engineers, but she's been real well supported. All right, so this beer is going around. Thank you, sir. This beer is going around, and it's, again, another version of the California Beer Brut. This one is aged on Chardonnay-soaked light toasted French oak. It's 11.4%. The final gravity is 1.05, so it should be even a little bit drier than the last one that you had. This one was done with glucoamylase enzyme and sugar fed for 4 days. So so we're getting into more and more things. So we're getting into experiments. I'm really proud about this venture that we've gone into. Really have to thank Rich for taking this by the horns and making this happen. If you guys notice, the guy in the upper type right there, that's actually Rich up there. Remember, you guys, I already told you this was me. That's Rich. That's Rich right there. Yeah, and who do you think this is right here? Stan? That's Kurt, exactly. That's Kurt. So that's Kurt right there. And I think it's just really something special to get into doing more and more experiments, and for us to use our scientific capabilities to be able to run experiments, and it fits right into our mission of learning and exchanging information. So I'm real proud that we've ventured into that area. At the the 25th anniversary, we said, this is what we're going to get into next. And we did it, so this is what we've been doing for the last 5 years. So I'm proud that we've got that going. Oh, and then the January meetings. So this is something that we added to add some spice to the things that we're doing. I think there's other clubs that during the holidays, they don't have a meeting. They just say, oh, it's the holidays, we're not going to have a meeting. And so what we do is we have a meeting during the holiday season. We just have it be a real fun meeting. And so you can see some of the things that we've done in here. Beer cocktails. We just had the game show. That was a lot of fun. I can ferment that, that was pretty crazy. Resurrecting beer. Patrick did a great job on that one. Experimental brewing. And we did drinking techniques. So these are all ones that we did in January, and I think we've got Strange Brew is planned for next January. Strange Brew, so that's going to be a fun one. I think we're still looking for a volunteer if anybody wants to do a crazy January meeting about strange brews. It can be whatever you want it to be, but probably like the name is, it's going to be bringing some of the strange things out that we can sample and talking about them. So we added that. And then another thing that happened to everybody, is we went through a pandemic. And I can tell you, I talked to a lot of people that were running a lot of clubs, and a lot of clubs just shut down during the pandemic. And we did the exact opposite. We ramped up during the pandemic. I think David has something he wants to say. Let's let David come in and say something.
Only again, because I want to be nice to the folks that are actually still watching this on Zoom. Laura and I, when the meeting happened, this was our first interaction with our friends that we had after the pandemic started. This is the first time it felt normal to sit in front of a computer and look at a bunch of people through a computer and go, all right, this kind of stinks, but this is fun because now I have all of these people to talk about one of our favorite hobbies, beer. So this one thing meant a lot to both of us. So I don't know if I said that before, but I wanted to take this opportunity to say it now. So thank you.
Thanks, David. Yeah. I think what I'm most proud of is that we didn't just roll over and just say, oh yeah, well, I guess we're going to downgrade for the year. We actually went about it to try to upgrade for the year. Patrick.
And may I say how much fun these meetings were, because no one had to drive.
We need another pandemic, right? We need another pandemic?
There was absolutely no breaks on having drinks in front of your computer. And there were more than a few times my wife came up and knocked on the door and we're like, you've been up here for a while. Are you okay? And I was feeling good, having a great time with y'all. So I echo, Dave, what you're saying there.
And I'd like to add too how amazing the creativity was of the directors of our club to make these meetings different and fun and compelling, to get that many people times 3 pages every meeting that were willing and thrilled to show up and didn't necessarily have any club-made beer in front of them. So congratulations to you guys for figuring out how to make these compelling.
Yeah. And I think part of our growth, David, let's let David say something here. Let's give him the mic here.
It was also really great to have presenters who were world-class presenters who were able to present even though they were from back east or other places that wouldn't have been able to present, and also people to attend who were, hadn't been to a club meeting because they moved out of the area and they were able to participate on Zoom. So it was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, and we're going to cover some of that. So I'll just go to the next slide right here. Okay, this is our COVID guest speakers. And so when we went through this process, we started asking people, well, will you present to our club? And of course, you guys all know we don't pay any of our presenters. We don't pay people to present to our club. They do it because they want to, share information with us. They do it, from the goodness of their heart. And every single person that we asked said yes. And so we just started working our way up the chain. And eventually, we were at an officers meeting, and someone said, well, why don't we go right to the top and ask Charlie Papazian? So we're like, well, okay, why don't we? And so we asked him, and he said yes. And so, you can see this was our guest list. Pretty amazing thing right here. So I guess I'll ask you guys the same question I asked on the last one right here: is who thinks they could name, 80% of the people here, 90% of the people here? Anyone want to take a stab at it? Todd wants to take a stab at it. Yeah, let's hear.
Drew and Danny, yeah.
No help in the contestant.
The Mad Fermentationists, Vinny, Ashley, Zamil, Charlie. I'm drawing a blank on the next two. Darn. Yeah,
She's from the yeast company that we.
Oh, Omega, yeah, right?
From Imperial. Remember we had Imperial speak?
Yeah.
She was speaking with us from Imperial.
Oh, darn. I thought I could. Then, yeah, that's John Palmer down. John Palmer on the bottom. Yeah, John Palmer. And then Smith.
They're not all John Palmer. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, I think I got it, didn't I? You said 80%. Am I there?
Okay, who said Brandon Hernandez? All right, right here. What's that? Bruin, yeah.
Oh, Martin Bruin.
Martin
yeah,
Brungard.
Martin Bruin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Travis Rupp.
Oh, Travis.
Remember? Yeah. Historical Travis Rupp. He was at.
Yes.
Yeah, he was at Avery. I don't think he's at Avery anymore, but he was at Avery at the time. Marshall Schott from Brewlosophy. Yeah. So what a great list. And like I said, they all said yes, and it was a really great time because we were able to bring in a lot of these guest speakers. I thought it was a lot of fun when we did Ashley Carter because we had she shipped all her beer out, and we were able to get the beer distributed, and that was really cool because we were all able to drink the same beer at the same time, which is a very unusual thing to be able to do during COVID.
So that video, the Bierstadt YouTube video still gets a significant amount of traffic, more than all the other YouTube videos that we have up.
Do we need to start charging, or I mean?
Well, I mean, the amount of good loggers in the world is more than payment enough,
Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right, so I'm proud of this. I think, we took the bull by the horns. We did a lot of other things here, too. We got the social distancing homebrew exchange going right there. And there's one of our customers right here. Yeah, you get points if you can name this customer right here. I know it's hard to tell with the mask on, who it is, but yeah, so it's cool, it's safe, it's techie, it's simple, it's social, and it's awesome. And so that's what we were doing. And the thing about it is we thought when we set this up, well, we'll be setting it up for a matter of weeks. And, well, it was set up for over a year. This exchange was going.
And let's give a big hand to Andy for hosting this at his house.
So yeah, it was a little bit of work to go out there and do it, but I didn't have anything better to do. There's a pandemic, and it was kind of cool because you hear somebody pull in and you go like, well, somebody's dropping off something. Let's go see what it is. So
yeah, Andy made out like a bandit. People were driving to his house to bring him beer on a daily basis.
Yeah, it was pretty good, and yeah, just to remember what we did here. This is one of them right here. This is, but we would put this out every meeting, and this meeting right here currently at the exchange, 44 homebrews from 24 brewers. Pretty crazy. pretty crazy stuff. When we start telling our kids about this, they won't believe you. You know, they're going to say, that's crazy. You just made that stuff up. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's what we did during COVID. The other thing that we did, we tried to help support some of the local breweries. So we were supporting Booze Brothers, Battle Mage, a few of the other breweries. Not all of them made it, but some of them I think appreciated the support. You know, how we could help wherever we could, and so I think that was kind of a nice thing to try to get our club organized to try to help the struggling breweries. Post-pandemic, so we made it through the pandemic, really cool, and we came back here to Booze Brothers, and we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could keep this remote setup right here? And I think there's a really a lot of thanks to Andre for getting this all set up for us. Thank you so much. And then for Lauren, who's now manning the system right here, which is really cool. The system just keeps getting bigger and bigger and more complicated and more complex. So actually, Lauren, if you go ask him, he's got like a whole map of the system now.
He's got several maps of the system.
Several maps. Okay, several maps. So. Which is great news because, you know, we can pass that along, you know, the map to whoever the next person's going to be doing it. But there he is at the helm right there. This is really a key thing for us because now you don't have to necessarily be here. We've got members that are remote members. We've also got, you know, times when people might be sick or might not be able to make it, and they can jump in on the meeting from, you know, remotely. So real cool thing. I'm real proud. I don't know how many clubs are doing anything like this, but we just keep raising the bar on a lot of the things that we're doing, and so I'm real proud of it. So we continue to bring in guest speakers. Now we're able to bring most of them in. Now that we have the remote setup, we were able to bring. Actually, we would be able to show up here, and we brought in some guest speakers that weren't even here. So we were still able to do that. We don't want to do that every meeting, but you know, it's kind of nice because you can find some of the guest speakers that wouldn't be able to make it into, you know, North County, San Diego, and speak on a particular topic. And so, I don't know who wants to give this one a try to name the people on this one right here. Anybody? John Palmer, I heard. John Palmer. Somebody who wants to take it on. Nobody wants to take it on? All right. Jennifer Talley. Jeff Bagby. Nate, what's Nate's last name? I can't remember. What's it? Nate's last name? Anybody remember? No. He's just Nate. Everyone just calls him Nate. Well, he was not at Epic anymore, so we can't call him Nate at Epic. Nate, who was formerly at Epic. Nate, formerly at Epic. Okay. Billy Belts? Seltzer guy? Yeah, it was one of those things he wrote the book, and then suddenly everybody just wants him for seltzer. He's like, but I do other things. I'm a brewer, you know? Okay. Up here? What's that? He's the yeast guy, right? What's it? Omega guy. We're trying to remember his name too. Brett from Duckfoot. Okay. Yeah. All right, good. We made it through that one. Creative events. So we're starting to get even more creative on the events. Big thanks to actually both Seans. Both Sean and Sean for starting to really think out of the box for events that we're doing. We did a bowling event that Sean put on. We did this crazy, wrestling event that other Sean put on. So both Seans have put on these events here. The Padres one that was done there. So they're just pucks and pints. So just we're starting to get really creative on some of the events, which is, I think, really kind of cool. So that's another way we've been stepping it up. Community events. We talked about this a little bit. I hope some of you guys get out to a meeting in the garden because it's a great event and it supports Alta Vista Gardens. But this last year we also did a beach cleanup with Surfrider Foundation, and we did a work session over at North County Food Bank, And of course, we've been doing a lot of work with the Assistance League, trying to help out with that by putting on that Big Brew Fest. So hope to be continuing to do that this year. You'll see more of this kind of stuff this year, just like we did last year. So I'm real proud of this. And I think we're getting into really new stuff here. This is, I think, a big thanks to Todd for putting this all together with all the artwork and everything, and getting this new canopy here that is now got our logos on it and everything like that. So you're going to see this at the festival, and probably a number of other events that we're going to have during the year. This is something that'll be easy to bring out to any event where we've got something going on where we're going to have a booth. So I think maybe that we get 5 times a year, use 5 times a year, something like that. So thanks, Todd. Give a big thanks to Todd for this one. So, and this is your 2024 officers. Yeah. What? You don't like my photo? I used AI in this photo. You don't like my AI photo? So yeah, we do this retreat, and we had the officers at this retreat right here, and so this is the photo that was taken in there. There's needless to say, there's a lot of beers that are consumed. It takes a lot of beer to plan out all these events. You can see all the work that we're doing and stuff. It's like you can't do this stuff if you're not drinking a lot of beer. Yeah, but so these are the officers for 2024. You guys should be, proud of the work that they're doing right here. I want a big round of applause for all the officers. 2024. And they're going to be hooking up malt and hops for the next 30 years too, I think. So we got a few more slides just to show you some of the history, and then we'll close it out. But this might be a good time to, start passing some cake around. What do you think? Can we get a little bit of help to get some cake going around? We have a nice birthday cake here for the 30th anniversary. We've got Todd's artwork on the cake there. It's edible artwork, so they can print it all out, and it's edible. So you don't have to worry about that. Yeah.
Recognizing my buddy
Patrick.
Patrick over here.
He's a close buddy of yours.
For the other events, the biking events that
biking
we've had
events.
for years.
That's right.
And they've been a ton of fun. We've gone to Vista and to Sorrento Valley and all over the place, and it's a lot of work to put those together. So congratulations.
Let's give
Nice
Patrick a
job.
big round. And I will say there are so many great things we've done in this club that I couldn't cover all of them. So I just covered a smattering of them, but I wanted to remind you of some of them. I think there's other things as well that have gone on in the club, and a lot of other people that have really done a lot of work for the club. So that's all great. I wanted to share a few more slides before we're done here, and we're passing around some cake as well. So just to kind of recap some of the things that have happened over the years, meeting locations that we've had. We've started out meeting at members' houses, and as I mentioned, that's a very difficult thing to do to build up a club or build up attendance when you just keep changing your meeting location. There's some forks in there as well. There's some wood forks. You get wood forks. Good for the environment. So we met at Stone Brewing in San Marcos. Then after they were growing and we had to move out of there because they just didn't have space for us, we met at Pizza Port in Carlsbad. We had a little tiny room. That's where that bottle shop is, and they had a little brewing area back there, and we were literally just sit on their kegs and have the meetings there. And then we moved from there to an Asian fusion restaurant, which is now defunct. And then we got the call from Stone that they wanted us to come back in. And it was actually a difficult decision for us because we were like, well, Stone fits us better, but these guys have great food. The food was just amazing. And they were just like, whatever you guys want to do, come on in there. it was an off night for them. They never had anybody in this restaurant. We just took over the whole restaurant. And so we were like, well, what do we do? Should we stay with where the food is all great and great atmosphere, or should we go to Stone, which is maybe a better fit, and they got good beer for us? And we ended up saying, you know what, we should move to Stone. So we moved to Stone, and literally within 2 weeks that Asian Fusion restaurant went under. I think it's because we weren't funding them anymore. Chris wanted to say something.
I was gonna ask, is that Asian Fusion restaurant where Copper Kings is now?
It's
it was Backyard Barbecue, and now I believe it's
no,
Copper
I think
Kings
there's like
Burgers.
a dog place there or something like that.
Yeah, it might have been right next door, but Copper Kings is either in that same building or next door.
Yeah, right there in that area. Yeah, it was really great. It was amazing food, but we I guess we got out of there just in time. So then when Stone moved to Escondido, we went to Escondido with them, and we were meeting for a while in their lunchroom, and then finally we had the upper deck of their meeting room to meet in that area, and then things sort of just became real corporate, and we sort of got priced out of the meeting room. So we went nomadic, as we talked about, and then now we ended up here at Booze Brothers. So that's kind of been our history over the years. I think we're all happy with what we've got here. We're going to stay here as long as we can. Yes. Special thanks to these people right here who have been presidents over the years in the club. And so I think we have some of them here. I think Andre, where's Jeremy? Jeremy's here. Myself, Lauren back here. Jack Ridley's on the call. Derek, where's Derek? Derek's right here. Yes. Yeah. So actually, we should take a president's photo because we should, because so we took some of these president's photos, and it's always nice if you can get a number of presidents in one photo, and say, yeah, look, you got all these presidents, just like they do, United States presidents, where they get all the presidents and put them in one photo, just like that. So we should do that too. So yeah, so special thanks. These people really put everything into the club and really made it happen. So yeah, let's hear it for the presidents. And last slide here is, this is a place for friends. So I think it's just great to see just the interaction between everybody here and how many different friendships have been built. And I think that's something that we would have never have thought that we would have built this thing up the way it's been built up over the years. But if you look back, 20, 30 years ago, 30 years when we started it, we never dreamed it would end up this way. And so it's just such an exciting thing to be a part of. So looking forward to hooking up hops and malt for another 30 years. Yeah, so thank you very much. You guys enjoy the cake. It's been a great time.
All right, let's give another round of applause to Andy.